Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, this morning, as you know, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, will be arriving a bit later in the day for the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. And this morning, our conversation is, just that, the implications of the GES Summit, both politically and for those in business. And in studio, we're joined by Senator Paul Kimani Wamatangi. He's the Senator of Kiambu County. A very good morning to you, sir. Thank you for coming. And Mr. Bitange Ndemo, he's the immediate permanent Secretary for Information and Communications, and now a lecturer with the University of Nairobi. Thank you so much.
Dr. Bitange Ndemo.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. And then, of course, Mutegi Jao on that corner. And Mutegi, I think it's right for you to start this conversation, and then we'll pick along.
When does politics come in this GES?
Where does?
Politics.
Well, we are
talking about it.
This time we are blending politics and business.
Yes,
because first we know that the visit by the President of the United States is a huge endorsement for the work that has been done by the government, the current government, in ensuring that we transform the Kenyan space into what it was known before, into what we are now, a very attractive destination for business. And so as entrepreneurs get to benefit from the summit, so will our standing in the politics of Africa, in the politics of the world, because as we have seen, our president has played a leading role in fostering peace, in brokering peace around the region, in the entire African nation. He's been elected into positions of leadership, not only within the East African community, but also within the African leadership community. And so, speaking from a politician's point of view, I think this is a huge endorsement also for the leadership that our president and the deputy have shown. You can remember how long the road has been that this government has traveled. From 2013, when we went to the elections with two people who are then supposed to have been suspects in an international criminal court, and now who have shown that true to what they said at that time, one, that their conscience was clear and clean, they were not guilty, and they were ready to lead this country. And they have taken their roles seriously. They have shown it in their stride. And so, from a politician's point of view, I think it says we have done well, and we will keep it up that way. And I believe that should be the way to go.
How do we use this then to position ourselves in Africa as this emerging country that is doing very well? Of what benefit is this when it comes to positioning ourselves out there in Africa?
Well, in the first place, within the African continent, Kenya has always been a country that has been respected. It's not the start. Our geopolitical position, our advantage as far as our location is concerned, the roles we've played before in brokering peace with Somalia, with other countries like Ethiopia, in Rwanda, and in as far as Sub-Saharan, South Sudan, and so on. And so I believe when the African states now look at Kenya, they can see that we mean what we say, and we say what we mean. Yeah, so I think there's a huge advantage to it.
All right, Dr. Ndemo, we are seeing, we are hearing rather that we're moving away from being, a donor aid country to one that is seeking partnerships, and especially with this Global Entrepreneurship Summit that's taking place this weekend. Do we have that capacity to go into partnerships and not rely, and rather stop relying on donor aid when it comes to advancing our country's economic status?
We have actually shown that we have enough capacity in this country to innovate. And because of that capacity, we are seeing many multinational companies moving into Kenya, setting up their labs here, creating partnerships that have equal outcomes. IBM, for example, all IP, we are supposed to share 50-50. This is the direction we must go in order to fast-track the growth of our country. We have so many incubation centers now in virtually all the universities, and we are seeing new products coming up virtually every year. And without the support of other countries that have more capital to scale, our innovations will become useless. So we need to scale up and spread throughout the world. This is what we need, and this is why we need the partnerships.
There is a conference going on, which is going to go on tomorrow at the United Nations in New York. It's the 6th one.
Yes.
There have been 5 earlier ones.
Yes.
Do they have any impact in Kenya? Those first parts?
They have had impact because like Mheshimiwa said, it's a huge endorsement to Kenya when we host these GES here in Kenya. This endorsement, we must leverage on it to begin to show the world that we are indeed the hub for ICT that we have said for many years. The Silicon Savannah, as the President wrote in today's papers. We must move with this in order to make Kenya the real hub for Africa and grow beyond where we are today.
Sorry. I was going to ask the Senator, there's been a call, for young people and women to come out during this summit so that, they can maximize on what is on the table. But I know that you're very passionate about the youth and women. But we hear that they're very frustrated day in, day out, due to lack of capital, due to lack of information. What do you think needs to be done so as to see more young people and women get involved in this process of entrepreneurship?
Well, one thing that I think we must admit and agree to by consensus is that there has been a huge demographic change in entrepreneurial leadership right now in the country. You remember there was a time when business leadership was squarely in the hands of the seniors of this country. I mean, grandfathers and fathers were the leaders of communities. The names that we have known as leaders in businesses, from the Jenga Karumes, from the Michukis, from the other names. But now we've seen a whole new change where young people now are the leaders in business. And talk of examples like the young CEOs in Africa Online, in companies like Centum, which are making huge changes in this country. And not forgetting women. We have a lot of women right now in leadership and in positions in corporations.
Yes.
And this now coupled with the fact that the entire globe, and including our country, Kenya, is now spurred or run on technological innovation. And so these young people will certainly now find their space. And remember, as a country, we have several initiatives, the youth empowerment funds, the women enterprise funds, and so on. And these have been our own local initiatives to spur growth within these groups. And so when we have these young people getting now to interact, and I was trying to look on the list of guests coming, I wanted to see is the CEO of Google in this list. Such young people are a big inspiration to our young people, whom they can copy. And if the CEO of Google is not there, Barack Obama, the President of the United States, is a good example. I mean, remember, we've seen in the media a lot of photos that he took just the other day, and some very humorous ones. Remember the story that a few years ago when he came here, he rode in a matatu. And now he's coming back riding in the beast, as they call it. And that whole change, when our young people look at it and see what you would call the reality and the surety of possibility that you can start from nowhere and get to be the most powerful man leading the most powerful country in the entire globe, I think it's a huge inspiration story.
Yes, but is that being translated at the grassroots? I'm asking this because if you look at uptake, say for instance 30% of jobs being taken, or the money being given, Women Enterprise Fund, Youth in Development, whatever, all these funds, the uptake is not there.
No, what I think this is the crux of the matter.
Yes.
I mean, this is the real thing, and what we've been doing at the universities now, it's the realization, because most people used to think that entrepreneurs are born. Actually, more research now is showing that you can actually train somebody to become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So one of the things that we need to do with the Women Fund and the Youth Fund, I think we must have entrepreneurship courses, short courses on entrepreneurship, such that before someone gets to do the business, they must know how to identify the opportunity, whether it's an opportunity that is fundable, and be able to know to separate the kinds of income, whether it is profit or whether it's revenue. Once they get to know this, they can very easily become as good entrepreneurs as those whom we used to say they were born entrepreneurs.
But these courses that are already offered in some universities, which tend to be out of reach for majority of the people.
Yeah, they are offered as academic courses.
So what are you suggesting?
We are going to tailor courses towards entrepreneurship.
Okay.
I mean, not just that you must have an undergraduate to come and do this, but any mama who wants to come and say, I want to know something. So we simplified, which is called applied courses.
Are you saying that when you go to university,
yes,
Kenyatta, that man under your place, and you finish 3 years, you don't come out saying, I want a job.
No,
being a business person, being an enterprise.
The problem in academia has been the focus on academics. And once they teach you academia, they don't actually link you to the industry. Now, we need to have courses which are like transitional, which puts you with the industry and academia. There is a gap that we must fill. Even in terms of employment, our graduates are not employable immediately. There are some courses that you need to offer them to become employable. And even in entrepreneurship, you need to take them slowly and understand. Now, what
is the point of learning entrepreneurship in the university, and then you come out with nothing? Well, you start enterprise with money.
There is a difference between academia and you know, University of Nairobi had been something way up there, removed from the people. Now the universities must come down here and understand the needs of the people and provide those.
One of the Obama's initiatives is the Young African Leaders Initiative, which is started for African people, young people. How is that linked with enterprise in our colleges?
Maybe as we go to that, something small I wanted to add to what Dr. Bitange has said. In answer to that question, why that gap and why that problem with the uptake of those funds which have been in existence for a long time? Currently, Mutegi, I have a bill going on in Parliament which we hope shortly will be enacted in law. And what we found out after going around and talking to young people, to women who have been who have had access to these funds is one. Now, when these funds were formed, there was an overlook at a very important part of community or society. See, within community there have been existing groups of women, youth, who have structures all the way from up to the grassroots, and they were ignored when these funds were being taken downwards. And so what government then thought to do was to create an unworkable formula, provide money, take it to a bank, then tell people miscellaneously, go and get it.
Yes.
And yet, for example, if I would use an example, we have for women, let's use the example of Maendeleo Wanawake. This organization has been there, it has a chairperson, it has a presence in the community, in the ward, at the locations, everywhere, with every single woman represented. Now, if you borrowed those structures merged them with the Women Enterprise Fund, then you would have a downflow that goes all the way to the grassroots. But when you take those funds and put them in an account in a bank and say people come and borrow this money, you have no way of making sure that these funds reach to the last person. The same thing with the youth. And so once we realized that there has been this gap, and that is a gap that requires to be filled as we are training our people to participate in enterprise. But yes, we train them, they become good trained entrepreneurs, but if there is no structural framework that takes it down, then eventually the gap may still exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And also you must separate, you can't just leave them to come and take money. You must look at the ideas that they are bringing. Because if all of them say we are going to grow vegetables, then you have more vegetables than the market can take.
Yes.
So some can be told, you do this, such that there will be demand for the products, and then the uptake will be good. The problem is that we have left, everybody looks, you've done tomatoes, everybody does the tomatoes.
And we quickly run to tomatoes and quail farming.
Yes.
All right, back to Mr. Njao's question on the Yali Leadership Forum that is actually currently taking place in the United States. We're seeing quite a number of Africans heading over that side to learn a few things. Are we feeling the impact back here in Kenya?
We haven't started, but what I think the whole idea is to create responsibility among the young people. If you see what the president did the other day with Changa and other things, I think he wants younger people to take up responsibility at an early stage instead of just idling there. You don't just sit there. There are so many things that can be done. If we get a few young ones with serious responsibilities, then they can be role models to others. And so I can actually, even without employment, I could be useful to society. This is all about young leaders. It doesn't mean that you are going to be any more special than other youths, but it's just to tell the youth that you must begin to take up responsibility because you are the future leaders of this country. Yes.
Well, and maybe to add on to that, remember the chronology that eventually led to the existence of who Barack Obama is. I mean, he is a product of the first African airlift from Kenya. And at that time there was that program that was being run by Tom Mboya and some of his friends, and they would take our young people, take them out there for training, and once they've had their education, either come back or get to settle there, and eventually we have seen the benefits by and large. And although we may probably look at it and ask ourselves, is the impact really what we would expect? Although there would be an imbalance between probably our expectations and what comes back, eventually we are better off having our the young people, the ones who are able to go there and have the training they want, mingle with those ones who are going through that training. We are better off having those that go there.
The leadership conference.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Ndemo, you just said something that is very unique to Kenyans. We see someone growing tomatoes, we all run and start growing tomatoes. Yes. The technology innovations that we're seeing, quite a number of startups that are coming up, and it looks like that's where the big money is, in terms of development. My question is that the only thing we as Kenya can offer to Africa and the world? If not, what else is there?
Not really. What is happening is that technology facilitates every sector. Like now, the success in the financial sector has led the younger people to try to create efficiencies in agricultural sector, in the health sector, in the education sector. So the applications that you're going to see, they are not going to be M-Pesa type. They are going to be one that would help, especially the improvement of healthcare.
Can you give an example?
For example, if you watched at the pre-GES conference at KICC, there was a presentation by a young man on total health. Total health is going to help women from the time they become pregnant to the time they have a child within the next 5 years, on how to take care of the child, getting regular feed of information on what to do. And this actually helps to cut costs, and the people understand, and the children get all the inoculations and other things. This is now different from what used to happen. It's creating efficiencies there. We have an application like iCow, for example. iCow helps farmers improve on productivity of their cows, and they have seen improvement go between 200 and almost 2,000%, because most of our people buy cows, but they don't know what kind of cows they need in order to succeed. You know, they buy a useless cow which gives 1 liter of milk per day, and eats as much as the one that can give you 20 liters. You need such information so that you begin to succeed. We have MFarm. MFarm sends information to farmers in terms of pricing. That is helping in farmers remove the middlemen and be able to get value for their money.
And this application on mobile phone?
These are on the mobile phone. Actually, most of the applications are on the mobile platform.
And what is the cost implication on me, the end user, seeing as there are many of us who, live in the rural areas,
yes,
right? And most of these applications we see tend to be on smartphones, something that I could not be having. Well, most of these applications,
some maybe, but not necessarily. But let me first say this to something that we talked about earlier. Sometimes I was in my travels in the United Kingdom. I met an entrepreneur, and he told me, I would like to go and invest in Kenya, but I have a problem, because in Kenya you don't respect the law of patents. So when I come and start something, I have thoughts on improving this and that, but I'm sure by the time I get to start up and get run, I'll have 1,000 duplications. And I think, as far as that question that we asked, that we said that if you start growing tomatoes, everybody grows tomatoes. I think within the entrepreneurial mind, we must also have legal adjustments, for example, to ensure that law on patenting is respected. But more to that also, I think we have to train our young people, and also sectors like the agricultural sector, in the importance and seriousness of value addition. I mean, if you go to a farmer now in Kiambu, in Gatundu, and they grow their coffee, the only thing they know is, I grow my coffee, I'll pluck the red berries and put them in a sack and sell them. I mean, if you come to my tea farmers, the same thing. Value addition, and as we right now know, Kenya is we are now probably about 60% service industry, and about 20% in an export economy. So if we place value, train our farmers and other sectors of the economy, especially in value addition, I think would see that change. On this last question that we've asked, are these applications, as have been said, because I saw that when I paid a visit to an exhibition by Jomo Kenyatta University, which happens to be in Kiambu. And by the way, Obama, when he comes on Sunday to Kenyatta University, Kenyatta University is in Kiambu, and I had extended him an invitation to come and tour Kiambu County and help us to talk to our young people. But I saw great things by the young people of JQAT. Pure brain, I mean, innovation. Our young people coming up with applications that help a farmer to transform his plane completely on what he's doing. And some of them have innovated these ideas that they are also available on these normal phones called Kabambe. I think you've seen that. They're there. You can be able to access them and get to them.
But your point is very good in the sense that it has made manufacturers begin to lower the cost of smartphones. If you look at the market now, the fastest growing sector of that area is actually smartphones, and the farmers are getting to use them, or poor people in the rural areas are beginning to use them on many other areas. But most of the applications are on the feature phones.
Okay.
Most of them.
Okay.
But the more advanced ones are in the other.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Senator, there's AGOA, is the deal between African countries and America.
Yes.
Is expiring.
Yes.
What the impact of that?
Well, probably would start assessing its impact from way before, because remember, since the time when it was proposed and started by the administration of President Bill Clinton, it became a huge window for us as a country and most of the African nations to access that market in the United States. It transformed a lot of businesses, gave huge opportunities to our people. But somewhere in between there was also a lot of abuse of the process. You remember we had a lot of cases where people from China would come, establish go-downs here in our EPZ and import products directly from their countries and export them to the US. I think certainly it was of benefit. It has been of benefit, but requires a lot of streamlining and legislation and enforcement to ensure that it serves the purpose it was intended for in the first place. But I think that our lobbying as a nation, as a group, as the African contingent, to ensure that the expiry of it can be canvassed and campaigned for, so that it can be extended. Because I think when that window closes, a lot of genuine entrepreneurs, a lot of genuine businesses will have their opportunities closed. And if we can be able to make this case, and I think this is where everything stops at, it's only a matter of us sitting down together and agreeing that we need to go and lobby this case. I think, if you asked me, when President Obama visits us, we should be quick to remember, and I think that's one of the things I would want to remind His Excellency the President when I get to see him in the course of all this business. Let's put this also on the table of the President and say to him, we would be most obliged and happy if they consider extending.
We are not going around cotton.
No. I think they are said in principle that they are renewing.
Okay.
What we need to do now, AGOA has got 8,000 products. 8,000 products. We did not do even 10. We should now come into ourselves. We are creating this entrepreneurship. Why can't we take a few, they deal with fish, a few they deal with cheese, a few they deal with this, rearrange so that we can exploit the market much broadly. The problem, look at the Indian Ocean. All tuna fish comes there to spawn, and it goes. Koreans and Japanese are the ones who come and take it. What we need to ask the American businessmen is collaboration on bring the heavy machinery for shipping, so we partner and be able to take tuna fish to the market. This is what we need. Not the renewal is going to be renewed.
Yes.
They have said that in principle, but we need to exploit it.
Yes.
It's useless to renew and leave. We fight on textile when there are other
opportunities,
lucrative areas, and then we have people here, women and the youth. We are giving money without opportunity. This is what I said, that we must look through that, get the academia and the other people, identify the opportunity, and then we get 20 women Senator brings from Kiambu. We teach them on how to make goat cheese, which is part of that.
Yes.
And they make goat cheese, and they have a market. This is what we need to do. Usually we say things up there. Other people don't understand what it is. Instead, we need to get a forum and come together. So we have 8,000 products. How many of them can we exploit?
Can we work
and
on?
Where are they? Who would be responsible here? Put University of Nairobi responsible for this. More University responsible for this. This university here, have we exploited them? And then we have measurements, how much of this we achieved.
We've achieved.
This is how we can help our people.
Maybe I think also quickly to add to that is that if you look at even other opportunities we've had to export our products, for example, like agricultural products. Remember when we've had this big fiasco in the European Union, and our opportunity to export our flowers there and our horticultural products has been in jeopardy because we could simply not address ourselves to meet the standards that are required by the EU to accept our agricultural products. And it is something, as I remember participating in a conference in Belgium, and they were telling us, we have said something very simple, that the world has banned the use of DDT. And you are still continuing to use products for growth of plants which contain or are contaminated with those products. And so we say we don't want your product. Simple. Just stop using those products and give us an alternative. And you see, sometimes we find that our people are slow to implement as small or minor issues as those ones, and that costs us opportunity. The same thing is reflected, for example, within the United States market. When we want to exploit that market to the maximum, we also have to address ourselves to the issue of what standards do they require.
Quality assurance and quality control.
That's why I said, for example, because we are aware that we have a huge sector in the agricultural area, and this is our backbone and strength, we have to seriously make sure that we train our people on value addition in pyrethrum, in cotton, in coffee, in tea, and we meet the standards, including small things as packaging. You see our tea is exported from here, it goes to the United Kingdom, it is packaged by people from China, by people from other countries, and then they sell it in the entire market, including in the United States, at very premium prices. Something that we could do here locally. So as we speak about those opportunities, we have to probably look at them and see how we can center them to benefit our people. All
right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. Time clearly is not on our side. One point from
what Mheshimiwa has said, I think we have a huge responsibility to monitor markets and inform the farmers. Look at the tea industry now. We told people to grow. It's become like everybody growing tomatoes to a saturation point, and the price is now going down. I think we must find a way of informing the farmers that we can't go beyond this. We would mess up the markets, or we need to open up new markets like new teas and stuff like that. That's how we can help our farmers. We are able to do such predictions. It's just that we are disintegrated. You know, the academia is there, the politicians are there, and the farmers are left on their own. And when they get less money, they politicize it instead of actually sitting down and saying this is what we need.
So what we're going to do is we're coming to the end. No, we're coming to the end. We challenge both of you parties to come down together, sit down, and make it for the benefit for all of us.
Well, there's a program called depoliticization of policy. And this is something that has been taken very seriously, by ourselves as politicians, to ensure that the policies we send to the technocrats are devoid of politics. And then I'm sure the merger will bring a lot of
work. All right, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Now, you're watching the Power Breakfast Show on our social square. If I'm not wrong, Willis Roburu is on standby together with Bernard Ndong. I'm not sure what they're doing there because they look like it's exciting features. I don't know that we cross over there, Robert? Not now? Okay, all right. So we'll be going there in a few minutes, so don't go too far.